Hello, friends. Thanks for joining me today. Thought I'd talk about a little kind of a bigger picture subject when it comes to health and longevity. And honestly, when I'm talking about health and longevity, I'm talking about health span. People talk about lifespan a lot of times, but what good, think about it, what good is a long lifespan if we don't have a good health span? In other words, those last 10 years of our life, we're not really able to do anything. I've seen so many seniors in that situation to where they live a fairly full life. They'll live into their 90s, but then the last 10 or 15 years of their life, they're pretty much stuck in the house, not able to move, not able to do the things that they enjoy. Now, anytime I put the word seniors in a video, I'm always afraid, like, oh, the younger people probably are not going to even tune into that. But it is so, like, I can't even stress this enough. This is something that I wish I'd really started to focus on the bigger picture of it, taking care of my health and thinking about getting older a lot younger than what I did. A couple of years ago, I kind of restarted, besides, eating a plant based diet. I got back into strength training, which was stupid that I like neglected in my 50s as much as I did. About I'd say about seven or so months ago, back in February, beginning of February, I started doing regular cardio where I was literally focused on getting my heart rate up. Before that, I'd just been kind of like what I was passing off as cardio was just like walking a lot. And I did walk at a good pace, but I've noticed a big difference since I've started really, focusing on it and doing, more zone two and zone five. I don't know how much I get into zone five, but I really elevate my heart rate. And then about 3 or 4 months ago, I started just stretching every evening, doing a little bit of flexibility work and started slowly working some mobility work into there. But overall, the key to all of this stuff is consistency. I've been listening to, and I was listening in the gym yesterday to a good podcast episode by Dr. Peter Attia. I'm going to try to remember to drop a couple of episodes that I particularly like down below, but his podcast is called The Drive, and he focuses kind of on the big picture too. And he's got these 4 pillars of health, and those are like the things that I've been, working on. They are the things that I hear a lot of people who are experts and are just very interested in how we age and how we, set up ourselves as best we can for our later years. And those 4 pillars are stability, strength, aerobic efficiency, and anaerobic efficiency. Now, stability is the ability to control force safely, and that includes strength, balance, and flexibility. And one thing I will say about any of the stuff, the physical stuff, whether it's the strength, the cardio, the flexibility, the stability, consistency is the key. When we're younger, we always want to do something drastic, like you start a new fitness program or you do this and that, and you try to go as hard as possible and you do the hardest program you can possible, and you eventually fizzle out, or either you do it and you don't do it for a while. But I have found that when you just do it, you start doing it at a comfortable thing and you get a little bit more each day. But when you do it day after day after day after day, I've seen a significant change in my cardio capacity. Now, I'm not one of those big bucks people. I love how all these health and fitness people are always talking about, get this tested, get that tested, test this, test that, see where you are. And I'm like, shit, man, I ain't got health insurance. I don't have money to go get all these tests. But I am quite sure, just from the way my cardio has progressed and like I keep challenging it and getting a little bit more intense, that my VO2 max has increased. And VO2 max is one of the most significant predictors of a long life. But like I say, I just do it week after week. I generally do cardio 4 days a week. And I get my heart jacked when I'm doing my cardio. Same with the flexibility. It's not some long program. It's just usually in the evening before I, kind of hit the couch, chill out and watch TV. I generally do about 15 minutes of easy stretching and flexibility. And the difference in my hips and my hamstrings and my back has just been ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why I let the flexibility go for so long. I remember how good I used to feel when I did yoga, but even more so than when I was doing yoga 10, 12 years ago, I don't really try to compete. I was always not necessarily competing with other people in a yoga class, but I always thought I should go a little bit further the next one. And I used to think that with my stretching as well. But when I just started doing this simple little thing every day, I slowly and slowly got more flexible. I got more range of movement, and I had less aches and pains. When I get up in the morning, there's a big difference now. And kind of the same thing with the strength and muscle loss. I'm going to drop a few of the, at least a couple of the episodes of the drive that I really recommend you listening to, because you can get some of the more specifics and the accurate stats, because I can't keep stats up in my head. But something with the strength type stuff, it's like we need to be like, in other words, like if you're 60 and you want to be at a certain level or be able to do certain things when you're 80, you need to be at a certain place when you're 60, and you need to be putting in that groundwork. Because when you look into the strength and the muscle, whether it's muscle or strength, we lose an astounding amount of muscle and strength as we age. So that's why, a lot of older people, when they're just getting out there doing their walking, that's all they're doing, you are really missing out. And, because of the muscle loss, we're not able to necessarily do the things. A lot of times it just gets down to, the one thing that gets old people a lot, not being able to get out of a chair, not being able to get up off of the toilet. Another thing the resistance training does for us is it strengthens our bones, and it helps, as we get older, to prevent like breaks if you do fall, God forbid. And the stability, a lot of that, we're hoping we're not going to fall, because with the stability comes more balance, better body awareness. But yeah, it's not one thing. You can't just think like any one way of eating. And we're not even talking about how of eating today, but we're not talking about any one way of eating is going to do it for you. Just strength training is not going to do it for you. Just working on one thing. It's like a lot of different, things we need to focus on in life. And those are the things we just don't tend to think about as much when we're younger. I know I didn't. You think you're bulletproof when you're younger. I was, right before I was going to bed last night, I started thinking about some of something from my past. And I was thinking like, oh my God, I used to do this all the time. I'd be scared to death to do it now, because I'd probably end up hurting myself. But anyhow, consistency. Find something you can do. And listen, if you're older, I always have to throw a disclaimer in there. When I say strength training and you should only be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, you need to clear that with your doctor. You need to know yourself. I'm not suggesting, for some people, walking is what they can do. And it's always better to do something than nothing. But what I'm getting at is I'm fairly still okay for my age. So when I was just doing nothing but walking, I'm just not going to get that much out of it. And also too, like wherever you are, there is something you can do, and just start a little bit. And that is key, not to try to, also too, when you're starting things, is not to go too fast, like especially with working out, strength, that kind of stuff, because that can lead to injury, just lead to frustration if you just start doing some simple stuff. Like for some people that have never done anything or that are in very poor condition, it's just going to be doing some little bit of walking, and you add little by little by little. Anyhow, I'm going to drop a couple of episodes down there, and I'd recommend, like he's got some good stuff on, and he focuses on longevity and aging, which is, like I say, something I've been very focused on since I hit being a senior myself. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video today, got a little something out of it. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, hit it now, and have a great day. Peace.